everyone, and welcome to Signed by Love. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nqo, and I try and do these regular videos where I share with you what God's been doing in my heart and in some of my ministry trips as well. And so thank you so much for signing in. I hope you will enjoy today's episode. So firstly, I just want to apologize because I've been away for a few weeks, and because I was traveling and doing ministry in a couple of countries, I wasn't able to roll out my video on a weekly basis. So for those of you that have been messaging me that you miss it, I'm back, and I'm excited to share with you guys what God's been doing in my life and through me in the last few months. So some of you may remember that I mentioned that I was going to Uganda and to Kenya on a mission trip. So I went, and it was absolutely amazing. I spent about just over 2 weeks in Uganda and got to minister in 4 different cities, and it was just phenomenal, from speaking into leaders' lives and just talking about what it looks like to do life in community and in a healthy way with leadership, and being able to raise up leaders and actually even just raise up sons and daughters in an environment. It was really, really precious. Got to go after worship and just really taking people into a deep, intimate place with the Lord, and it was just really, really precious. I got to see quite a few miracles while I was out there as well. So there was a day where we went street evangelizing with a couple of people from a local church that I was serving at while I was in Uganda. And it was fun because we ran into some security guards at this piece of land, and they were just kind of standing around and, guarding the land for the day. And they would do some physical work while they were there as well, and just making sure that everything was going well at this construction site. And we began to just share the gospel with them and kind of just say, hey, you guys, we're out here praying for people and blessing people, and we were wondering if you needed prayer for anything. And it was incredible because one of the guys there actually had chest pains, and he had had these chest pains for about 7 years, and they were so bad that he was not able to do any heavy lifting or, really heavy physical work, which is crazy because of the kind of job that he was in. And so he would quite often feel a chest pain, and, it would be difficult for him to do stuff and to kind of pick stuff up from one end of the construction site to the other. Well, I got to pray with him and just bless him. And by the end of that time with him, he was jumping up and down in excitement because Jesus had done a miracle for him. There were no chest pains. He was doing the things that he couldn't do before. He was jumping and just, using all the energy that he could, which usually would mean that he would be feeling this pain in his chest and he'd have to stop. But that day, God just healed him. He experienced the love of Jesus, and he was so excited. It was amazing to just spend that time with him and to share the gospel and to see Jesus do such an incredible miracle. So that's just one of the fun things that I got to see Jesus do while I was out in Uganda. Another testimony, I got to pray for a lady who was a Muslim, and we kind of entered into her home and just kind of shared who we were, and we're here to share the gospel. And she was kind of, she had her own different points of view of who God is and so on. And I said, hey, you know what? Do you have any pain in your body? And she said, yes, I do. I have back pain. I'm actually struggling to do the washing for my kids because out there washing is done by hand. And so she was really struggling to do the washing because she has such back pain that was so bad. And so she was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with my grandkids' school uniforms and all the clothes that they need to wear because I need to wash them, but I'm really struggling with the pain. And so I go, well, you know what? Can we just pray for you? Is that okay? And got to pray with this beautiful lady, and immediately she's going, what is going on? What is this? The pain is gone. The pain was completely gone in an instant after praying with her. And she's just going, oh my gosh, I've only seen these things on, these TV evangelists on television, and I didn't know if it was real. I was questioning it. And then that day, Jesus actually came for her and encountered her. So that was a really, really precious testimony of Jesus just saying, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you believe in. I'm going to show you that I love you and I'm for you. And so she got to experience the true and living God that day, and it was incredible. Such a beautiful experience, and I was so grateful to be part of it. So on my trip as well, I really felt like the Father was highlighting just the importance of actually knowing intimacy with him and his kindness and his goodness in our lives. I came across quite a few people who maybe they have had a portrayal of who God is, a portrayal of God's heart, a portrayal of leaders and fathers in their lives that was actually not healthy. And so they were carrying around a lot of pain and a lot of mistrust and a lot of disappointment, and even also just frustration because they know the gifts and the callings that God has put on their lives, but because of the environment that they have been in that has maybe been suppressive or it's just not been very championing of different people's gifts and callings kind of shining, just an environment that maybe sometimes is filled with a spirit of competition, and just not really understanding how to handle people in that way and be able to just champion everybody, that actually we all have space, we all have room to grow. And I just want to say that if you're out there, maybe you've struggled with maybe religious environments that have actually kind of made you feel a little bit oppressed, or like you don't have a place, or what does it look like to be fully you in that environment, that the Father's actually saying, hey, let's come out of this place as a church where we're trying to make man our fathers above God, where we're trying to say, okay, this pastor's word is the one that goes, and putting our hope in men, basically, because God is saying, hey, actually, I want to father you. I want to father you, and I'm such a good father, and I'm so kind, and I've actually made you in such a specific way, in a beautiful way, and I have a calling for your life, and I want to raise you up as a child and know that you would know that I believe in you, that I love you, that I see who you are. I made you the way that you are, with your giftings and your callings and your passion, and there's actually a place for you in this world. The Father's not trying to oppress you. The Father is not trying to hide you. Jesus talked about that when you have a light, you don't take it and you put it under a bush and cover it, but what you do is you actually put it in a prominent place in a room so that it gives life to everyone, light to everyone in the room, so that everyone can see. And that's exactly how God feels about you, that you're actually a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. You were not created to be hidden. You were not created to be oppressed or to be stuffed down or to stuff down the creativity and the beauty and the passion that God has put inside of you. And so I just want to say, son and daughter of God, it's time to come up higher. It's time to start looking to men to father you and putting them in the place of God. Yes, they have place in our lives. Yes, leaders are important in our lives. It's so key. I have mentors and leaders, fathers and mothers in my life that I really look up to and go to for counsel. But at the same time, God goes, hey, but you know what? I am the perfect father. He's the perfect father. He's the one who is faultless. He's the one who actually knows how to father you best, because he made you, he created you, and he created you in his image. So would you today begin to choose that you're actually going to lean into the love of the good Father who knows exactly what to do with you, who knows exactly how to champion you and to pull out the gifts that he's put inside of you, so that you would be that light that is set in a prominent place, that you would shine for Jesus and everyone in the room would see, because you are an expression of God himself, and he wants to use you. And he wants to partner with you to do that together, that you would shine the glory of Jesus through your life. So those are just some of the things that really God was putting on my heart while I was out in Uganda and in Kenya. And I got to speak at a few different conferences and churches and do street evangelism and just see God heal people, and even just be able to also sow into some ministries that are really working with vulnerable people in their communities. I went to slums and, kind of those areas where people are living in a lot of poverty. And so I just want to say thank you so much to all of you that actually sowed into my mission trip, that actually gave towards this mission trip, because it means that I actually got to go out there and not only preach the gospel, but actually do something practically in terms of being able to sow into ministries, being able to sow into people's lives that actually needed financial help, that actually needed practical help in order to be able to help them out of poverty. And so I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for believing in my ministry and what God is doing in my life, and for being the hands and feet of Jesus by giving into this work. So yeah, that's actually just a snapshot of my trip to Uganda and Kenya. I mean, there's so much more that happened. But just as a closing note, the most precious thing that happened for me, apart from just seeing God touch and change different people's lives as I spoke from city to city and, between the two countries, one of the most precious things that I saw God do, because I was out there for about a month, for me, I had been in this place of longing to minister from a place of what I call the love bubble. And it's basically this place of being so aware of God's goodness and God's love. And I find it so easy when I'm speaking to a friend and we end up giving each other advice and whatever, and I can just feel just the love of God, the love bubble just kind of surround us, and the tangible presence of God just come as we speak about him and we advise each other, and iron is sharpening iron. And I find that easy when I'm, at home or wherever I am, just spending time with the Lord, listening to him, talking with him, or playing my guitar and just worshiping. But I found myself before this last trip just kind of saying, Lord, what does it look like to minister on stage from that place, actually standing in the love of the Father, actually feeling that overwhelming sense of his presence, but also being able to actually minister in that place. And I was really desiring that, because as well, even I'm also a worship leader, and that's one of the things that I love, you know, just those moments where you're just so overwhelmed by his presence and you're ministering from that place, and you see how it changes a room. And for me, I was going, yeah, Daddy, I want that even when I'm speaking, when I'm preaching. What does it look like for me to be in the love bubble? What does it look like for me to stand in your love? You know, the height, the depth, the width, the length, the breadth, you know, just that kind of love that it talks about, that is available to us. And I found myself on this trip just at a new level of freedom as I was speaking and sharing in different places. I found myself just really leaning into that place of complete freedom in the Father, complete freedom in the love bubble, just being so aware of his love in those moments. And it was so precious, and it changed everything for me. And so I want to encourage you, whatever it is that you do, whether you sit at a desk and you work in an office, whether you're a creative, whether you travel a lot for your work, whether you are a house mom, whatever it is that you do, whether you're a cleaner, it doesn't matter what you do. I want you to begin to ask the Lord, what does it look like for me to do what I do from a place of intimacy? What does it look like for me to do what I do in the love bubble, in that place of being so immersed in the love of God and so aware of who he is and who he says you are? And you'll find him actually answering you and showing you, and you begin to recognize those moments where he's actually pulling you in deeper, and he's teaching you how to live in that place, how to do what you do from that place of standing in the Father's love. So bless you so much, you guys, and I will see you on the next episode of Signed by Love.